Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex, and today we're going to be taking a look at Final Vendetta on the Nintendo Switch, a side-scrolling beat-em-up with a clear love for Final Fight and Streets of Rage, but can it live up to its idols? Well, hit subscribe, join us here on SwitchCorner for reviews and deals near daily, and let's get started. Story then, and the premise here is as expected, simple. We open the game a pre-main menu with a quick cutscene. It details one of our leads, Claire. She has a younger sister. Now a group by the name of Syndicate, they've kidnapped her and you need to go get her back. You'll be doing this though alongside two friends, that's Duke, an Englishman, and Miller, a Canadian ex-pro wrestler. It's a story we've seen countless times before, and it's fine as simply, something to set the scene. Weirdly, I did find the opening cutscene though moved a little quick. You need to pay attention and read quick, but otherwise, it is what I expected from this sort of experience. Gameplay then is what you are here for, and first off, this one's extremely difficult as entries in the genre go, at least those of recent memory. I somewhat came in here expecting the modern touches we've kind of come to expect over the years, but yeah, this thing keeps it mostly old school. I think game continues. None of that here. You get 6 lives to make it through the game, or you're going to be heading all the way back to the beginning. Even the opening 2 difficulty options, that's easy and hard. Easy is an understatement. One thing I did get from Final Vendetta though, because of this, it was actually reward. It really felt like I was overcoming an uphill battle. Something that all of the quality of life features we've kind of got used to, it can kind of dampen. Basically though, challenge is high, reward is even higher. When it comes to our 3 characters then, Claire, Duke and Miller, you can pigeonhole them as Claire is the fastest, but by far the weakest. She was my main go-to. Duke is the all-arounder, and then Miller the heavy, so slower but extremely powerful if you can master his movesets. The moves as well, and naturally it's not the control scheme, but how you earn combos that will lead to victory. On booting up the game then, in fact, I was a little worried the control scheme was going to be a bit basic. There's a single attack input, you can walk into enemies to grab them automatically, and there's a jump button that can lead to a flying kick attack of some form, but do not let that deceive you. This is a game that gives you a basic control scheme, but then it lets you experiment to uncover the different contained moves. Gotta say here as well, there's a huge amount in here. I quickly learned that sprinting into an attack with Claire can do some serious damage to my enemies. I can then kick them while they are floored. If I punch once as well, I'll stun lock my enemies, so I've got time to grab them. There's even multiple attacks in here for each grab type, my favourite being rolling and throwing them backwards. One, it would cause damage to those in line of my throw, but also it provided invaluable invincibility frames as well. Over these 6 contained levels though, each clocking in around 5 to 10 minutes each, you'll face off against a slew of enemies, each with their own unique movesets to face and increasingly sizable health bars. Nothing you haven't seen before, and some of the tributes are clear, but they lead to a nice amount of variety. There's even a slew of weapons which greatly impact your speed, but they can be absolutely devastating. If one hit lands on you though, this weapon, it will disappear. So yeah, the game, it is short, but it's going to take some practice to get through it. For me, I can't count how many runs it took me, and you'll no doubt notice in the footage, my placement, I knew for the majority where the next enemy would be. It's just as much about having the understanding in the battle ahead of you as it is being, competent in the controls. For me, blocking, it's not something I would typically use, but here I absolutely had to. To give you an idea as well, I'd say if I had to make a guess that my first complete run on easy was maybe 10 attempts, and each level awards you a rank to chase after as well, which was frustrating me because I felt like I was playing at my very best, but I was getting an E or an F ranking. I wanted to prove the game wrong almost, so it knows exactly here how to hook you. The final of note then, the boss encounters, for the most part they are creative. They've clearly been designed around the specific movesets, but what I did enjoy was each demanded something different of me. It was never just simply a particularly tough enemy with a really large health bar. They did some really interesting things. The final note here then, for the good, you'll be building up a special meter. This is controlled with a simple 2-button input, but you can use it without the meter full in the lower left as well. Do this though at your own risk, as the cost now will actually be your health bar dropping. Problems then, and while I mostly enjoyed the 6 levels, there's a couple of areas in the latter half of the 6 which have moments of insta-death. Think crates dropping on your head, or cranes swinging across the screen. I get the idea, but it's near impossible to survive these the first time, unless you get lucky, because there's an exclamation point that flashes on screen, and then you get like a split second to react. It feels incredibly cheap, especially when you've, fought so strategically this far. Likewise, I do think the stun lock needs some balancing. You can absolutely use it against your foes, but the game has a habit of surrounding you with enemies. The controls, they're punchy, they're fast, but often they couldn't keep up, and before you know it, you get stun locked in a loop and it can cost an entire life. The block only works the direction you are facing as well, so I found in these moments I needed to move quick and rely on invincibility frames thanks to an extended animation. The only other issue is minor, but just needs to be remembered. Often you will see pickups that reward both health and high score points, but it's actually linked to the attack button. Frequently I would intend to save a health item until I'd cleared a screen, but I would attack someone and unintentionally pick it up. I think we could have mapped it a little more strategically, given the fact it packs 24 controller options in here and none of them change this. I know it's been seen before, I just always found it really strange. Outside of that though, for gameplay, expect to find a local 2-player, no online, which is a shame because it makes this one a bit easier, and once you do beat the game, you'll unlock survival, boss rush and training, each requiring you clear the story at least once with each character. Also expect to find a Street Fighter kind of influence bonus level as well. Graphically then, I really do like the work they've done here, but I'd describe it as somewhat uninspired. It's leaning into its influences over creating anything, I guess, new, and that goes for our leads, through to enemy designs, through to the levels themselves. They very much check the here's kind of what's expected of the genre, and it leaves it feeling somewhat at times generic. That said though, the sprite work, the level of animation, it is impressive. I love how chunky each of our characters on screen are. There is some nice background work as well, always good to see England on show. Never once had issues with the depth of image as well, always connecting with my foes. And I think as well, over anything else, the movesets in here look fantastic as well. Audio finally, and it's kind of unique. It has influences from hip-hop to techno, but I really enjoyed what they did here. It's the most creativity on show for the entire package. There's even some minor voiceover work, like those that tell you to move, or reactive, from our characters as they deliver blows to enemies. I'd listen to this one offline though, and it's all then reinforced with individual character attacks and sounds that are suitably heavy. So overall, a final Vendetta, it's not the hardest game in the genre, but it is one of the most, I'd say, challenging in recent memory. For many though, the no continue, old school kind of format, it may be a bit too much, but the reward, thanks to this, it's going to be hard to match. It's influenced by the old school, and it absolutely delivers that. Throw in then a complex moveset around a simple scheme, and I really had some fun in uncovering its many secrets. I know I'm hooked though when the second I die I'm jumping back in to go again, but now armed with that extra bit of new knowledge. That said though, it has some balance issues at times. A stun lock can feel cheap, as can a few insta-death moments, but otherwise you gotta learn to fight in this world, and it definitely kind of delivers in that sense. Enemies though, expect them to abuse that stun lock, so I suggest you need to go out there, figure out how to use it back at them. One final issue worth noting, I did have a single hard crash at the end of the 3rd stage. Didn't see it again after that, but definitely just kind of putting it out there as a warning, it may happen. Overall though, I've enjoyed my time with it. It's a good 7 out of 10 from me today. The final thing I will say is I can't help but feel right now as well, that price point could be a little high for many, given, its limited scoping content. Will you be adding this one to the library then, or holding onto that cash? A shout out then to the patrons of the channel who are going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe, join us here on SwitchCorner for reviews and deals near daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.